Hey everybody, Ronarray here, and today I want to showcase my Void Knight leveling build. It's a combination between the Warpath skill and a Erasing Strike. Both of them are really strong in early game, and that build will be able to just rush you through the campaign and early Monolith, leveling from 1 to 70. Let's go further and see what I can recommend to level these and how you can level your character much faster. So talking about how the build works, the whole idea is pretty simple. You just run through the enemies and you're using Warpath when you need to move through them. You can also use the Erase Strike to just destroy groups of monsters to get some experience while you are running. And when you're encountering the boss, you're pretty much using both your Warpath and Erasing Strike together. That way you can level like some kind of hybrid and pretty much get to higher levels fast. So the main skill that's pretty much available for you from the start is Warpath. Warpath is a cyclone-like skill that will make you spin towards your mouse and attack enemies constantly. It can pretty much consider your attack rate, so attack speed matters for it, and it can work pretty well against all the enemies. That way you can both move and attack at the same time. You're receiving Warpath pretty early and can start using it just from a second location. Overall, I recommend to go for Unchained first and then get Reckless Spin. When you get 2 points to the Unchained and 1 point to the Reckless Spin, Warpath will cost 0 mana. That's pretty great because early in the game you will have issues with mana anyway. That way, getting Unchained and Reckless is pretty much recommended. After that, you can go to the right. 2 more points into Void Spiral, 1 to the Econite, 1 to Apocalypse Viral, and 3 to Maw of the Deep. Will provide you with damage, so go to the right after that. And when that part is complete, you can go to the left instead, getting Iron Reach for area bonus, getting Virulent Steel for damage bonus, then Battlemaster Blade, and 1 point into the Dark Nexus. I would say getting Dark Nexus is pretty important because it will help you with your mana management. So try to get it right after you received Maw of the Deep. You don't really need 5 points in the Void Spiral early on, so just stay with 2. And you can just put 2 points into Virulent Steel as well. Progressing that way, we are going to our second skill. And it's Erasing Strike. Erasing Strike is amazing bonker skill. As you can see on the screen right now, it bonks enemies immediately, and it's really cool for leveling. Since we are not really a Erasing Strike build, we're just taking it to bonk enemies when you're running past, and receiving some experience from it. I generally recommend to go with Ruthless, because it will give you melee damage against full health enemies, and since you need to bonk enemies with it, well, Ruthless will pretty much provide the damage that required for it. Obliteration is pretty nice as well. It will give you some melee void damage, and it can work pretty good with the rest of your kit as well. After that, I recommend go 3 points Dust to Wind for higher area, because that way you will be able to kill more enemies, and 1 point to the Mark of the End for Void Shrent resistances. The rest of the points pretty much goes for Eraser of the Living for damage and kill threshold, which will help you to finish off bosses and fight that way. The next skill is pretty much Volatile Reversal. We mostly need it just for 1 bonus, so the most important part here is Harbinger of Dust. Enemies hit by Volatile Reversal Void Reefs take increased damage for 4 seconds. So we need to use Volatile for 2 reasons right now. First, to proc Harbinger of Dust and to rise our damage from Warpath and Erasing. And second, just to get our mana back. So just go left, Terminal, Dark Expanse and Harbinger. And after that you can go up for Warped in Time, for example, because global attack speed is pretty much good. You need to use a special approach when you're using your skills. So when you're using Erasing Strike and you're losing your mana, you can use Volatile Reversal pretty fast to just get your mana back. So first you're getting hit, and then you're getting mana back. That's it. The next skill is Anomaly, and with Anomaly I definitely like a few bonuses it can provide. First off, you need to go for Time Bubble. Going down there for Time Bubble itself, Then you need 5 points into Temporal Mastery to make sure Time Bubble will stay with you longer, and Time Lord, because that way you will be able to cast Time Bubble on yourself, and you will always receive the bonuses. After that, you can get Manipulation, you can get Lingering Memory, and Decimation, for all the bonuses that Time Bubble will provide to you when it's on you. Anomaly mostly casted into the bosses, so when you're fighting the boss, try to cast it on the boss itself, just to receive more bonuses to your skills. You can also put 1 point to the time log, because it can help you to stun some bosses and avoid annoying mechanics. It could be pretty nice during leveling. The last skill is Rebuke, and we don't really need it while leveling. So while leveling, I generally recommend to just use Launch right here. Launch pretty much don't really need anything except the skill itself. So you can just use it to run through your enemies and try to move faster through the campaign. Talking about the passives. At the start, I recommend to go a pretty special route. First off, you will need Overwhelm. Generally, it's not really good buff, but while leveling, it will help you to maintain higher damage. After that, you can go for Juggernaut, 8 points, just to get more STR and some resistances. After it, 5 points to Armor Clad could be definitely recommended to make sure you're receiving some basic armor at the start. You can also get 1 point into Fearless and 1 point into Stalwart. Both of them are pretty nice for your character overall. After that, you'll be able to unlock Void Knight. And in the Void Knight, first you need to focus on Temple of Corruption for additional damage. And then for Void Blades for even more damage. I'm also receiving World Eater because you will need some Leech, obviously Void Corruption for Critical Strike Multiplier. You can put some points to Abyssal Endurance for resistances and health. Doom Knight is great because it gives you health and STR. After that, you can go for Eternal Form, you can go for Ika, because Ika will provide you a lot of damage, and going forward, up until Avatar of Regret right here, which will provide you even more Ika chance. Void Flux is a pretty nice bonus as well, it's usually taken in most Void Knight builds, so make sure to take that as well. I also usually expand in the Paladin tree and take some Defiance point if you need some resistances. So if you feel like you need resistances, you can go for Defiance. If not, it's not really important and you can just focus on the Void Knight tree. So talking about the items that I recommend for leveling. Generally, I can recommend the same set that I usually use for leveling, and I already recommended it in the different video, you can check it in the description. Based on that, I can also add a few things. First off, I think Dream Thorn is just an amazing sword right now, because Dream Thorn will give you 13 melee damage, melee void damage, and void penetration, together with some block chance, and it's available from level 15, so if you can get it, get it. After that, I think Euron Wisdom from 27 is a decent option as well. It provides armor, it gives you health, some melee cold damage, and stuff like that. When it's available, I also recommend to use a Dark Stride, because Dark Stride will provide you with a lot of movement. And that way, you can also get some damage. Dark Stride is definitely recommended from level 20. If you feel like you need more rot chance, you can use Thorn Slinger, because all chance to bleed will be pretty much moved to chance to inflict time rot. So it's a good item. You can also use Quicksilver Coil, which is good for running faster, and melee attack speed is a pretty nice bonus, especially together with gain haste for 1 second on hit. If you feel like you need some leech, Bleeding Heart is definitely nice. And Grimmer of the Necrotic Elixirs can help you with starting damage, because 40 necrotic damage to melee attacks and spells is a pretty good bonus. You can also get some resistances from idols if needed, so make sure you have at least 30 to 50 to feel better during the campaign. Generally, you might need to change your uniques for rares. For example, I'm using such helmet with movement speed, armor, and increased health. So if you can achieve something like that, well, it will work just fine for you. Don't worry if you will need to change some unique items to rare items, for example, to buff your resistances or health. Just do that. I mostly run my runs with just like basic uniques, but if you feel like it, don't be afraid to change them. At level 65, I also recommend to go with Apathy mode because it's a pretty great item, even if you don't have any bonuses for it. So make sure you're getting it as fast as possible. At level 41, you can also get Titan's Heart, and it could be pretty good for your build. If you feel alright without regeneration, just make sure to get Titan Heart as fast as possible as well. That way you also will be able to bonk your enemies, to kill the bosses fast enough with the Warpath, and to progress fast enough as well. So that was my build for leveling, combination of Raisin Strike and Warpath Void Knight. I hope you will be able to enjoy that as well, and your leveling phase will be faster with it. Thank you very much for watching, please like and subscribe for more RPG content, and see you next time.